Welcome to Unspoken Lives, the podcast that uncovers the powerful, untold stories of everyday people. The real stories you don't always hear, but ones that deserve to be told. I'm your host, Kelsey Billingsley. In each episode, we'll explore journeys of growth, resilience, and transformation. Conversations with guests who have faced challenges, embraced change, and discovered new purpose along the way. Through their stories, you'll find inspiration, hope, and a reminder that every life has a story worth telling. Let's dive into this next Unspoken Life. Today's guest, Emily, is someone whose story reaches far beyond the word survivor. She walked through the storm of a breast cancer diagnosis and double mastectomy, but what stands out most is how she lived through it with faith, strength, and a powerful sense of purpose. This episode is for anyone who's ever faced a moment that turned their world upside down. Maybe you're in the middle of something right now. Maybe someone you love is. Maybe you're holding on by a thread and wondering if light is ever going to break through. If that's you, stay with us, because Emily's story is one of those that reminds us, even in the darkest places, there are moments of grace. There is still beauty, there is still God, and there is a way forward. Emily, thank you for being here and being willing to open up the parts of your story that many people may never get to hear.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, let's just start where you're at now. For anyone just meeting you, can you share a little bit about who you are and what life looks like for you today?
Well, I'm 42 years old. I'm married with two boys that are 7 and 10, currently moving to Houston. So we've got big changes.
Are you excited?
All good stuff. Yes, okay. Definitely. A great opportunity for our family with my husband's work. And yeah, I feel like the Lord has blessed us. We've moved a lot in our 12 years of marriage, and each place has been amazing and met the best of people and friends and just learning experiences, and just really excited to see what God has next for us.
Great. That's exciting. Well, I know I shared a little bit in the intro about what you've went through and what we're going to talk about today. But can you share a little bit about what life looked like before your diagnosis? I know you shared about life like right now, but, just passions or daily rhythms that you went through. What did life look like before this big change happened?
Yeah. I had just turned 40. Yeah, when I was not really diagnosed, when they had seen something. But Before that, I felt like I was generally a healthy person. I love health stuff, but I love food. I love traveling. We were always active with friends. I would work out. I would indulge in food and alcohol and do all that stuff. And there was things that I wanted to in my health journey before cancer, just, getting older and wanting to be healthy. And I went to a doctor feeling like I feel good, but should I feel better? I mean, some issues I had was like acid reflux that really wasn't going away. It would go up and on. And, I didn't think that was a big idea. But I say this only because I do feel it's important, like, for testing of, your body, what's going on with you personally. So I decided to do a Genova test. And he found that my gut was completely a wreck. And
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but what's the Genova test?
Genova test. Yeah, that's a good question. Basically, it's a blood test, and it tests all your biomarkers. Okay. But basically, it was how my body was reacting or what was going on. Like, I wanted to know what supplements. Like, I kind of just wanted to know what, if anything, was wrong with me. Yeah. And I was basically deficient in every single vitamin. So
Did you
my
have
body
any idea?
wasn't, no, I had no idea. I mean, it was almost impossible to even, or a waste of money to take supplements because my body wasn't even absorbing them. So I took that, and he had recommended a few things, and I just kind of thought I was fine, and, kind of went and didn't really look back and just kind of live my life again, and then turned 40 and then did my mammogram.
Was this your first? I know it's usually 40 is the age.
Yeah. So 40, I turned 40 and was like, I got to do my mammogram. I go to the dermatologist. I go to get my teeth cleaned every 6 months. I do all the, the yearly physicals. I thought I was doing the extra mile of doing the Genova test, which, I can explain more of that too later, of testing.
Right.
They had called me back and said, we see something, we just want to have you come back for more diagnostics. And so that was in May 23.
And this was just, you didn't notice something. You were just doing your 40-year-old
I had no lumps.
Okay.
I have no family history. I know a lot of people get a callback and want to do another screening, a diagnostics, a more in-depth mammogram. So I kind of just thought it was routine. So I did. I went back and did that. They kind of said, okay, well, we're going to monitor, come back in 6 months. I did have, I will say, right breast pain, which that's the side they were looking on. And they had told me that it was not anything to be, like, wouldn't be,
pain?
It wasn't concerning. Yeah, it was just a dull, achy pain, kind of just like, I think I might have noticed it more. It never, stopped me from doing things, but it was just kind of like, just a little achy in there. And they really didn't have any concern. So then 6 months come and they want me to do another full diagnostics, which, mind you, these annual mammograms are free, but the diagnostics are like a lot more money.
Right.
And I just kept thinking they were just, I'm like, if you see something or you don't see something, I was getting frustrated. That time it's been a year since my first mammogram. And they said, I said, I'm just going to do my annual one for free.
They saw something, but weren't concerned?
Right. They basically, so that was frustrating and confusing too, because I'm like, why do you keep having me come in and then you send me home thinking everything's fine,
but then call me
in and do another diagnostics, which, like, again, is more radiation, more money. So I kind of threw my hands up and said, I'm just going to do my yearly one that's free. And they called me back and they were like, they see something, they want you to come in. And at that time I was feeling around, and I had felt around, but at that particular time I didn't feel a lump. It was just like hardness in this certain area and it was just different than the other side. And I even went to my OB and told her what was going on. She felt, and she said, I think she didn't feel anything. And so I finally went to the other diagnostics that they were said, and this time they did an ultrasound with it, which I don't know why they didn't do an ultrasound before. I just was doing what they were asking me to, and I really just didn't think that it would ever happen because I had no history. I had no lump. The only thing I really was having was that pain, but
if you, knowing what you know now, I know we haven't gotten through the whole story, but knowing what you know now, if you could go back to, after that first year, what would you do differently? Like, how would you advocate for yourself more? I'm just wondering if there's someone out there feeling a certain way and feeling like no one's really taking them seriously or giving them answers. I'm just curious what you would do.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think, listen to your instinct. Like, I did feel the pain in my breast was definitely something to be alarmed. Like, if I didn't do my mammograms, or if I wasn't 40 and feeling that, I would definitely ask more and press more about that pain. But I would honestly do a thermography versus a mammogram. Knowing what I know now too about the radiation of mammograms, this is just me thinking out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about it.
Right. I honestly think what I'm reading, cancer tumors are formed within like 8 years. So I don't think my cancer just overnight or this mammogram caused my cancer, but I definitely think it might have intensified and made it come up faster or sooner. That's just my thought about it. I mean, because within a year, I had 5 diagnostics.
Wow.
And they still didn't know what was going on. So
no
I would say an ultrasound or a thermography would be your best bet. If you're doing 1 a year, I mean, that's fine. I would suggest more doing the thermography, which actually the thermography can tell a whole lot more than a mammogram too.
I don't know what that is
So
either.
I know. So just, I never got one and I don't need mammograms anymore. I'll do ultrasounds moving forward. But, and I have friends that do the ultrasound, but a lot of times the ultrasound tech will send you to do a diagnostic where you're like, I'm trying to avoid that.
Right. And now you're getting both.
And now you're doing that. So I've had friends that I've recommended, and they do the thermography, and one had the ultrasound and they wanted her to do a diagnostics, and she said no. So she went to did the thermography, and then they said, you're totally fine. And they actually found more issues with like her mouth, actually. So I think it feels like the heat through the body is from what I understand. I should learn a little bit more about it, but that's what.
Yeah, I'm going to look into this after.
It's newer, I guess, but and insurance should cover it. And if not, I think it's like maybe a few $100s out of pocket. But I would say ultrasound or thermography first.
Right.
So that's what I would do forward. So the ultrasound, when I got finally at that time, she went over those certain spots where I had felt that lump, and that's where they were kind of stopping, clicking, and I remember her face, like, well, I remember just silence and concern. Like, it was just, I just knew at that time, like, there's something. And at that point, they wanted to do biopsy the following week. And they did, because there was 5 areas, they did 3 biopsies.
Okay.
I still, at that point, was like, I really didn't think it would be anything.
I'm trying to figure out, how are you feeling through these multiple...
Yeah, I think at that point I was just more frustrated, like that I'm doing all this, like...
Again.
And going, how much is this going to cost me? And like, just like figure it out, like what, give me an answer. Right. And then I was, a week later, I had left Colton, my oldest, like end of school party.
Okay.
And they called, and the woman sounded on the phone like, hi, Miss Crowder, have you you haven't heard from the doctor yet? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, and I could tell in her voice, she's like, oh, I have to be the one to tell you. And so I'm driving, and
is anyone in the car with you?
No.
Okay.
My husband is home. I know. I'm like 2 minutes from the house. And she just says, you tested positive for breast cancer. And I just kind of, luckily I know the road that I'm going down, and pulled into my drive. And she asked me, are you driving? I said, I'm pulling in. And then she said, invasive carcinoma. And invasive ductal carcinoma, excuse me. And that was like, I was trying to type things on my phone and
process.
It just is, it hits you like a ton of, like, first you're just kind of calm, but I didn't hear anything she was really saying. I just said, just give me the number. Who do I call next?
Right. I can't imagine how I would feel hearing news like that. I mean, do you even remember, did you sit in your car and process? Did you go inside?
Yep. I sat there and texted my Bible study group of ladies. I was like, I need prayer.
Yeah.
So I texted them, and just, they were knowing, like, they knew, like, I saw them every week. So they knew, like, when I was in doctor's appointments and all the things. And, so I told them first, and then my husband was working out in the garage, and he looked at me, and I was just like, I got the news, like, they called me, and I have breast cancer. And that was the first time I sang it out loud, I remember. And
makes it more real.
Yeah, he just kind of shell-shocked and was like, what do you need? And he's like, let me cancel my day. And I said, I just want to go for a walk. So we probably walked like 5 miles. The kids, thank God, were in school. And that was kind of like the timing of everything was kind of nice, because I had a few days still of them in school where I could process it. I still hadn't chose to tell them yet.
Right.
I've told family, and then my mom was actually like one of the last ones I wanted to tell, because I mean, as a mom,
right,
like, your worst fear
I can't
is
even
your
think about
child sick, or something terrible. And so that was a really tough call.
Does she live far away?
Yeah, she lives in Oregon. So a lot of family in Oregon. We have no family here. So I know they were all very concerned and felt helpless. And at that point, I didn't know what I needed. I needed to, get to the breast specialist. There's all the things. You don't know what grade it is. Like, that's what I've learned with cancer is just, it's a waiting game. Like your patience is, at that point, you make your breast specialist appointment. And that's when she told me it was stage 1.
How soon after you got that phone call did you have your first?
Luckily 3 days.
Okay.
But still 3 days
of just not knowing
anything. And so that's where I think hindsight, God moments have come in, because I remember actually also calling, one of my first phone calls were to my friend Trisha, who God put me, I think, her in my life at the time because our kids went to kindergarten together.
Okay.
I met her at a mom's night out, and she had just gone through chemo and had breast cancer, and I'm just like, wow. So I had been talking to her a little bit about the diagnostics, and then she wanted to see my labs, and she's kind of got this medical background, and she knows. So I had her, thankfully.
Yeah.
And then Natalie Tuman, who with the Tuman Foundation, she's a survivor from breast cancer, and she's started a nonprofit in Prosper. And truly, you can nominate yourself or any breast cancer survivor, and they will give help as far as, meals, laundry, medical bills.
It's amazing.
Anything, support groups, So, I had nobody else that had breast cancer. And more I'm hearing about it, I hear more stories of women, but I don't know what I would have done without them.
Yeah.
With this
Even just
journey.
Someone to talk to who understands it, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly. And I will say, Trisha, I'll never forget when I couldn't even look at my labs. I didn't want to. I just sent her pictures of them and just said, maybe I'll wait till the doctor tells me what it is. And she just said, "Ooh, your cancer's sexy."
What does that mean?
Like, what does that even mean? But I will say, stage 1, we caught it early. It's hormone positive, so it's estrogen fed. And so when I went to the breast specialist, she said, I think, and as long as I didn't have the BRCA gene, there's all these, not one breast cancer is alike. And I will say that too. Their treatment, no story is alike, more that I'm meeting more people. For my case, it was double mastectomy and take tamoxifen, which is an estrogen suppressor, for 5 years to 10 years. So I was like, sign me up. Like I will do. So from May to July 2nd was my surgery, double mastectomy. And then I had reconstruction December 30th.
Okay.
But it was also what I think changed, obviously, fear and, this feeling of no control. And everybody has opinions or says what you should do and what it
can get exhausting.
Yes. So you're like, can't have any sugar. You can't have, I shouldn't be eating this, eating that. You're just thrown into just total chaos. Right. And somehow, whatever whirlwind I was in, I did want to find out the root cause, because I didn't have the BRCA gene, which was great. So I didn't have to have chemo or radiation.
Did that desire to find out the root cause, did that come after the surgery?
Yeah, I would say after the double mastectomy, I kind of felt like, okay, now the best news. So even I had to more waiting, because they're like, okay, we'll do the double mastectomy and it'll be gone. But then they say, oh no, we won't know if it's gone until after the surgery, because we need to still see your lymph nodes if there's any cancer. So I went into surgery, an 8-hour surgery, and woke up and they would tell me right then and there if it spread to my lymph nodes. And I remember waking up and Shane, my husband, I just was kind of groggy and was like, just tell me. He's, wanted to say hello, and like, just tell me if it's spread. And he was like, no, it did not spread. And that was just, I finally could breathe again and rest again.
Some relief.
So, and the healing, the double mastectomy, it was definitely rough, but yeah, I think with 2 weeks, I was up and out.
Oh, wow.
But that really was the time where I was wanting to not have it come back, reoccurrence,
Right.
because that is when they start telling you about the reoccurrence rates and that it's not really over. You've got to take these hormone suppressants, and those have a whole bunch of side effects. And I had a friend, another God thing. She was going into trying to be a nutritionist and personal trainer.
Okay.
And she said, I can help you, if you want help. And I just knew I needed to get my blood work. I was like, if it's estrogen fed, like, let's see my hormones.
Right.
Let's see what my body's doing. So I went to an integrative doctor, and then I worked with my friend Allie, who got me on a food plan and a workout plan. I was already kind of working out, but I wasn't really, I don't know. This was different. It was just more in the gym to myself versus a workout class, which I like both. But she really was big on fixing my gut, which again, we know that was
right
a problem. And now more that I'm learning, all diseases stem from your gut and inflammation. And so I cut out dairy, I cut out gluten, I cut out sugar. Well, I kind of still drank, so I guess I couldn't really say that. The alcohol part. And that was kind of later too. So it was not overnight. It was slow.
Yeah. Well, that would be a huge change overnight.
I did. Yeah. I just, everything now or starting from then was like, what I'm putting in my body, is it hurting or helping? Is it feeding my cancer? Is it feeding, my body the nutrients it needs? So I have a different mindset about actually even working out. I'm rating is like, if you work out, 60% less recurrence. Wow. So I'm like, okay, sign me up. I can do that. So I started doing this and I stayed consistent. And honestly, I started feeling great. I lost like 30 plus pounds since July to January. So from July to January, I was really doing that, with my diet and exercise, just constantly getting movement, and doing my supplements. And what I found, which was interesting, I'm just a whole nother world of health, is the integrative side of medicine, because I get one side from my oncologist, which is very much,
medical.
Didn't ask me about sleep, didn't ask me about my lifestyle or food, didn't ask me, really anything about myself, and just wanted to throw, this medicine and surgery and stuff, which I think there is a time and place, but I believe there's so much more. And I'm hearing more cases of younger women. We live in a toxic world. Why are these young people getting sick that have, it's not even genetics anymore, So kind of just makes you mad.
Yeah.
At least for me. So I cleaned up my household too, like just
What do you mean by cleaned?
Shane, my husband, and my poor kids. There were times where I went full, like, throughout the pots and pans, no more plastic. I look at the ingredients in all, like, no seed oils, even my hair products and makeup, things that, lotions.
Things that we just don't even consider every day.
Exactly.
We've just grown accustomed to.
Yeah, because, they sell it. It should be fine for us, and like, it actually bringing stuff back to the basics of natural foods and whole foods and clean foods, not processed and packaged, which are easy. And like I said, I didn't think I really ate bad until I started looking and seeing how much the seed oils were in everything. And my husband and kids were, they're on the train. I'm like, either get on or hop up. I don't know. So, it's been daily and monthly.
You weren't just trying to change, like, you went through something traumatic to create this change. So
yes. And that's why I feel like I'm going to use this time and I almost feel like I have a second chance at life, because it could have gone so much worse, and I could have gone back. And that's what it doesn't make sense. Like, my body created it once. How would it not create it again?
Right.
And that's where I feel like we need to be looking at root causes of things, because I think prevention is key. Like if things could have been prevented, like I think you wouldn't have to go through, anybody wouldn't have to go through this. Or that's why I stress, and I don't ever want to make myself feel like I'm being judgmental of anybody and what I just want to, I wasn't educated, and I like sharing my story and what I eat. And also there was a couple Instagrammers that I started to follow that really made it easy to swap, make those changes, because it does feel overwhelming. So
and probably a bit alone if you don't have that.
Yes. And it is hard to get your family on board. Like they are used to eating certain things.
So my mom, she doesn't have breast cancer, but she's gone through a similar journey, I guess, of advocating for herself health-wise. All of the things you were saying she has done. But I know it was a big change for, everyone. Going to a restaurant. You can't eat everything. And so she's just had to learn to be okay with it. And she brings her own stuff if she needs it. She orders what she can, and she just doesn't really care what other people think anymore.
Yes. No, I love that. I know, because it is sometimes, I don't know, you feel kind of weird. And
because it's against the norm. I mean, we're so programmed to be that way.
Even asking for the gluten-free menu, it was like so odd for me, because I'm like, I'm not gluten intolerant or anything, but I mean, thankful that now more restaurants are that way. But now I think just seeing how it makes me feel, eliminating those things, like you don't really want those things anymore, at least for me. And not to say that I'm 100% perfect all the time.
But you said you just feel better, right?
Yes. And I wanted that feeling years ago. But like I said, I thought I felt good.
Right.
You can feel better. And that's what I just remember too is, this is what I was searching for. And it is work. I think more for me now is you don't want to have cancer again. Like I'm okay. Like God, I feel, I don't think he gave me that, cancer or anything, but I think it was like kind of like a calling, like, hey, wake up call, get your stuff together. And that's like the God thing too, that I remember searching reels, and there was one reel in particular that was like, how can you pray for, God to heal you when you're still loyal to the thing that's killing you?
Oh, wow.
And that, I saw that and I scrolled up. I'm like, I don't want to see that again. I'm like, look for me. And like, I was thinking of, just my lifestyle, like, how I'm praying to God to heal me, but I'm not doing anything to heal myself, Right. And then I did the work, I feel like, in the next 6 months, and I saw it again, because the only thing that I really hadn't given up at that point was alcohol. And that one's still just learning more about alcohol. It's not really that great. And it does cause cortisol. And so I think it's good to be aware. I think it's just good to get education and be knowledgeable, to give yourself the discernment. And I think the education will give you knowledge to make those changes.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of Emily's story. Make sure to come back and listen to part 2. Here's a little preview of what's ahead.
Yeah, it's emotional, overwhelming, like the support. But a God thing, the lady next to me had breast cancer and was a survivor.
That's it for this episode of Unspoken Lives. If today's story moved you, inspired you, or made you reflect on your own journey, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next powerful conversation. I'm always on the lookout for new guests. If you know someone with a story that deserves to be shared, I'd love to hear from you. Check the show notes for contact details, and make sure to follow along on social media at Unspoken Lives Podcast. Until next time, keep listening, keep sharing, and remember, every life has a story worth telling.